You know how sometimes your mind feels like just a whirlwind? Thoughts buzzing around, maybe you barely notice them, but they seem to be steering your day?
Yeah, completely. It's like an undercurrent.
What if you could actually grab the reins, intentionally guide that inner dialogue to, well, shape what happens in your life?
That's a powerful idea.
Well, today we're diving deep into Shubham Kumar Singh's book, You Become What You Think.
Right. And this book really cuts to the core of something fundamental, doesn't it? Our thoughts aren't just background noise.
No, they're like the blueprints for our reality.
Exactly. Singh's work suggests that by understanding and actively directing these thought patterns, we get this powerful lever, a way to influence our experiences or outcomes.
So think of this as like your streamlined guide. We're pulling out the essential insights from the book.
The crucial strategies, the core ideas.
Yeah, to help you unlock the potential of your own mind. But, without getting bogged down in super dense theory.
The goal is really to explore these concepts and see how you, the listener, could maybe put them into action pretty quickly.
Okay, so where does Singh start? What's the foundation?
Well, the book lays its foundation on a pretty powerful premise, the sheer impact our thoughts have. It's not just about, thinking positive.
It goes deeper.
Much deeper. It emphasizes how our internal mental landscape has this tangible effect on our external world.
Okay, let's unpack that. This foundational idea.
Mm.
The book says our thoughts are the root, right?
Yeah.
The root of our actions and ultimately our results.
Precisely. It suggests positive thinking tends to generate, well, positive emotions. And those emotions can actually open our eyes to opportunities we might otherwise just miss.
And the flip side, negative thoughts.
They can create this cloud of doubt, which actively hinders our progress, makes us hesitant.
And there's this concept, the self-fulfilling prophecy. How does that fit in?
Yeah, that's crucial. The book likely digs into how the subconscious mind works. It essentially accepts repeated thoughts as truth.
Regardless of whether they're actually true or helpful.
Exactly. Doesn't matter if it's valid initially. Repeated enough, the subconscious takes it on board. And that influences our beliefs, our behaviors.
Creating this cycle where our thoughts kind of manifest themselves.
Spot on.
The book uses an example, right?
Yeah.
Priya, the graphic designer.
Yes, Priya. It's a really compelling case. She was stuck in this loop thinking, my work isn't good enough.
And that belief just stopped her cold, prevented her from going for bigger projects.
Totally. It acted like this invisible barrier. She wasn't even looking for opportunities that could have proven her wrong. Classic example of thoughts limiting potential.
But then, using the book's ideas, she made a shift, consciously.
Right. She started intentionally repeating a different thought, something like, my designs are unique and valuable.
It sounds maybe a bit simplistic on the surface.
It can sound that way, but the effect, according to the book, was profound. By actively choosing her thoughts, she started reshaping that underlying belief about her skills.
So it wasn't just putting on a happy face. It changed her actions.
That's the key. It fueled a shift. She actually started reaching out to those higher-profile clients she'd previously thought were way out of her league.
And the outcome.
She landed a major project, which wasn't just luck, right? The book presents it as a direct consequence of that transformed mindset.
And that success would then reinforce the new positive belief, an upward spiral.
Exactly. It shows how consciously chosen affirmations can unlock possibilities, directly impacting what we do and what we achieve.
Okay, so Priya's story highlights that crucial first step, which the book probably covers next. Becoming aware of your mindset.
Yes, self-awareness. You hit it. Because you really can't change what you don't consciously recognize, can you?
Makes sense. It's like trying to fix a leak without knowing where the drip is coming from.
Yeah.
You need to find the source.
And the book likely emphasizes mindfulness as a key technique here, learning to observe your thoughts.
Just watch them without getting tangled up in them.
Yeah, without judgment, without getting swept away by the emotion. It's like stepping back and just watching the traffic of your mind, not jumping into every car.
So you start noticing those negative loops, the limiting beliefs running on autopilot.
The ones often lurking just below the surface. Bringing them into the light gives you the power to question them, to choose a different view.
And journaling. Is that mentioned as a tool?
Very likely. Writing things down gives you that tangible record, makes it easier to spot recurring negative patterns, specific limiting beliefs, themes that keep popping up.
Like with Raj, the college student example. He was terrified of public speaking.
Yeah, Raj. His automatic thought was just, I'll embarrass myself. And that fear was really impacting his grades, his confidence. everything.
So how did awareness help him? Mindfulness.
By practicing mindfulness, even just a few minutes a day, he started noticing that thought, I'll embarrass myself. But crucially, noticing it without immediately spiraling into anxiety.
Creating a little space
Mm,
between the thought and the reaction.
exactly. That space is key. It gives you back some control.
And the journaling helped too.
Yeah, he wrote down his anxieties, but then he consciously started writing supportive phrases alongside them. Things like, okay, I'm nervous, but I am capable of improving with practice.
So acknowledging the fear, but redirecting.
Right. And that awareness, that conscious redirection, it empowered him. He wasn't just ruled by the fear anymore. He felt he could manage it.
Which led him to join a public speaking club. That's bold.
It was, and the outcome was huge for him. He delivered a presentation confidently, got positive feedback. It directly challenged and ultimately started to dismantle that old limiting belief.
Wow. So recognizing and gently redirecting that negative self-talk is really the path to overcoming those ingrained fears.
Seems to be a core message, yes.
So once you have that awareness, the next logical step is actually rewiring things, moving towards more positive thinking. That must be the third section.
Yeah, that's where the active techniques come in. Practical strategies for intentionally shifting thought patterns, like affirmations, thought replacement.
Affirmations, those positive statements you repeat. Some people are skeptical, aren't they? I think it's just wishful thinking.
Sure, that criticism exists. But the book probably argues that consistent, intentional repetition can gradually reprogram the subconscious, planting seeds of positive belief over time.
And thought replacement, how does that work?
It's about actively catching a negative thought as it pops up, challenging it, and then consciously substituting it with something more realistic and empowering.
So not just ignoring problems, but choosing a perspective that helps you solve them.
Exactly. Fostering resilience, promoting proactive thinking rather than getting stuck.
Like Anita, the small business owner example. She thought her business was just going to fail.
Right. The economic climate was tough and her mindset was, it's doomed. That feeling of helplessness was paralyzing her. She wasn't taking action.
Because the thought itself, my business will fail, prevented her from even looking for solutions.
Precisely. The book's principles likely guided her to question that fatalistic assumption, to ask, is this really inevitable?
So she started using affirmations, like, my business is resilient, and I can adapt to market changes, something like that. And when that negative thought, it's going to fail, crept in, she consciously countered it. Maybe with, I can find new opportunities even now.
So, again, not ignoring reality, but focusing her energy on solutions, finding that sense of agency.
And the results, tangible. That mindset shift spurred her to action. She launched a targeted social media campaign, something she probably hesitated on before.
And it worked.
Led to a 15% increase in sales, according to the example. A direct link between shifting her thinking and getting real-world results. It really underscores how challenging negative predictions and focusing on solutions can drive outcomes.
Okay, so shifting thoughts. What about visualization? That's another powerful technique often mentioned. Is that in the book? Maybe chapter 4?
Highly likely. Visualization goes beyond just positive thinking. It's about creating a really vivid, detailed mental image of your desired outcome.
Making it feel real in your mind. Exactly. The book probably explains how this practice boosts motivation. It aligns your subconscious mind with success because the goal starts to feel more tangible, more attainable.
And it's not just about seeing it, right? Emotion is involved.
Oh, definitely. The book probably stresses engaging your emotions. Really feeling the joy, the satisfaction of achieving that goal, that emotional connection amplifies the impact on your subconscious, makes it a much stronger motivator.
Turns a daydream into a driving force.
You got it. And consistency, again, is key. Regular practice, immersing yourself in that mental movie of success, it makes your mind start to internalize the belief that, yeah, this is possible.
Vikram, the aspiring writer, he's the example here. Plagued by, I'll never finish this novel.
Yeah, that thought was a huge obstacle for him. Created overwhelm, probably fed procrastination. The whole task just felt insurmountable under that mental weight.
So visualization helped him break through.
He dedicated time each day to vividly visualizing, holding his published book, feeling its weight, seeing his name on the cover, experiencing that pride. Just a few minutes, but consistently.
Immersing himself in the end result.
And that consistent practice chipped away at the limiting belief. It shifted his mindset from impossible to potentially achievable.
And that renewed motivation led to action.
Directly. He set up a writing schedule, stuck to it, and ultimately finished the manuscript, directly contradicting that initial self-defeating thought. Shows how visualizing success can build belief and drive consistent action.
Of course, it's not always smooth sailing, is it? Obstacles pop up. Limiting beliefs fight back. Does the book address that? Maybe in a 5th section.
Absolutely vital that it does. It needs to acknowledge that we all hit these mental barriers: fear, self-doubt, those deep-seated limiting beliefs.
So what strategies does it offer?
Probably things like cognitive reframing and adopting a solution-focused approach.
Cognitive reframing. Changing your perspective on something. Looking at it differently.
Exactly. Finding a more positive or constructive interpretation. And solution-focused thinking is about shifting your mental energy towards finding solutions rather than just dwelling on the problem.
And resilience must be important here, too. Bouncing back from setbacks.
Crucial. Setbacks are part of growth. The book likely stresses that many limiting beliefs are rooted in old experiences, maybe misinterpreted ones that just aren't relevant anymore.
Like Neha, the software developer, believing she wasn't skilled enough for a promotion.
Yeah, Neha's example is clear. That belief was stopping her from even considering moving up. It was likely based on old insecurities, maybe past criticism.
So the book's principles would push her to question it. Look for actual evidence.
Right. What objective evidence supports this feeling? So she did that. Used cognitive reframing, listed her successful projects, positive feedback, new skills she'd learned.
So she gathered the facts to counter the feeling.
And that objective look helped her reframe her thought. From "I'm not skilled enough" to something like, "Okay, I am capable and ready for more responsibility."
And that changed everything.
It empowered her. Instead of self-doubt holding her back, she took action, applied for the promotion, prepared, and got it. Directly proving that old limiting belief wrong. Shows the power of challenging assumptions with facts.
Okay, so transforming thoughts, overcoming obstacles,
Yeah.
but making it stick. That requires habits, right? Is there a section on building supportive habits? Maybe section 6.
Makes sense. Connecting positive thinking with lasting habits. The book probably explores that link, maybe touches on the habit loop cue, routine, reward,
Explaining how thoughts trigger actions.
which, repeated consistently, become ingrained behaviors, new patterns.
And the key is probably starting small, not trying to change everything at once.
Definitely. Overhauling your entire thought process overnight. Unrealistic, unsustainable, small, consistent adjustments. That's where lasting change comes from.
Patience and persistence.
Exactly. Small, positive thoughts, acted on consistently, create this compounding effect over time.
Like Arjun, who wanted to get healthier but felt overwhelmed. His thought was, I don't have time to exercise.
Yeah, that thought was a huge barrier. Made the whole idea of starting feel impossible. He needed a way in, something less daunting.
So, using habit formation ideas, he started smaller.
Much smaller. I can do just 10 minutes of activity each day. Paired it with a simple routine stretches in the morning and a reward listening to a favorite podcast while doing it. Cue, routine, reward.
And that small start grew.
Over time, yeah, those 10 minutes expanded naturally to 30-minute workouts. The positive reinforcement, feeling more energetic, maybe losing some weight, solidified the new habit.
So the initial limiting thought, no time, got replaced by this positive, doable routine that became part of his life. Starting small, being consistent key for building habits.
That seems to be the takeaway.
Okay, so we've covered awareness, rewiring, visualization, obstacles, habits. What about the long game? Sustaining happiness and fulfillment. Does the book wrap up with that?
It likely does. A final chapter emphasizing that a positive outlook isn't a one-off fix. It's an ongoing practice.
And gratitude often comes up in this context.
Okay. Very likely. Actively cultivating gratitude is presented as a powerful way to amplify positive emotions daily. Consciously appreciating the good things, however small.
Shifting focus from lack to abundance. It reinforces that positive mindset.
Absolutely. And the book might also talk about your environment, the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences.
People, information.
Yeah,
It all impacts your thinking.
definitely. And it probably encourages continuous self-improvement, lifelong learning, keeping your mind open, adaptable, focused on growth.
There's an example of Mira, the teacher, feeling stuck, like her job was repetitive.
Right. That thought, my job is repetitive, was draining her enthusiasm, impacting her satisfaction, even though she fundamentally liked teaching.
So she needed to cultivate a more positive perspective within her current role.
Exactly. So she started a daily gratitude practice, identifying 3 good things about her workday, a student's insight, a lesson going well.
Simple but powerful.
And she sought out a more supportive environment, joined an online group for educators, took a course on innovative teaching methods, proactive steps.
And these actions shifted her mindset.
Transformative effect, according to the example. Renewed purpose, more enthusiasm, it made her classes better, and she even got nominated for Teacher of the Year.
Wow. So actively maintaining that positive mindset,
Yeah.
supported by actions and environment, leads to real fulfillment.
That's the idea.
So bring it all together then, the core message of you become what you think feels really empowering. It's saying that you, the listener, you have the agency. You can actively shape your life by consciously directing your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a powerful claim.
Yeah.
And the book offers this toolkit, these actionable strategies. Mindfulness for awareness, affirmations, and thought replacement for positivity, visualization for goals, reframing for obstacles, habits for lasting change.
It really highlights the profound influence of our inner world, doesn't it?
It really does.
It makes you think. Consider just one small thought. One thing you could intentionally choose to shift starting today. What might the ripple effect of that one small change be on your reality?
That's a great question to leave people with. It's a fascinating ongoing exploration, isn't it? The relationship between our thoughts and our lives.
Absolutely. We hope this deep dive has given you a solid framework, maybe some inspiration, to begin or continue that journey for yourself.